In a way, the process of change has to come from within the womb of the mother of the universe, the mother of the creation, and in so many ways, Mitra. In a way, we call it Mitra for a collective creating power, collective understanding the fields and emotions of the universe. And this is a gift that in our cycle we have given to man, to understand, to change, to understand the coming of the new time, that man shall not kill anymore. Man and the animals on this planet will not destroy another cycle. Each soul knows within that entity that is the beginning of another star. Earth is the nursery of the creation of the universe. When you become the travels of the universe through the dimension of the soul, you will know which star, which galaxy has the seed of the earth, has come from the motherland of the mother of the creation, Mitra. In so many ways, mankind will come to understand it's not privileged to be white or black. It's privilege to be the soul of the Creator. It's a privilege to be the beginning of the soul of other beings in the realm of the creation and the created. In so many ways, how would you like to see your soul? Now that you understand, you have the capability, and you're not only capable, you've been made to become that shining star in the center of galaxies. And some of you who elevates to a higher level understanding of the creation will become the center seed of the universe. In so many ways, there is no education, and there is no university, and there is no dimension in direction of the emotion of the creation, except in the strength of understanding the totality of knowledge of the Creator. Now you understand, as I repeat again, why we have created the enhancement units. For you to see your soul, and through understanding of that, to be able to elevate your soul. Our job is not to give you and keep you away from cancer. Our job is to create a condition that you take your soul with the knowledge of the creation and the created in the beauty of its creation to the other dimension of the universe. In a way, we allow you to live a perfect life. That death and the killing and destruction, which has been the pattern of the physicality of the man, this time, by allowing the soul of the man to be created first, will not exist. We create the perfect man through the interaction of the soul of the man, to become and to be created first. In so many ways, mankind is a different kind of man when it comes to understand the work of his soul. It comes to understand the operation of understanding the strength of his soul. Try to look not with the eye of the man within, but try to look with the sense of the eye of the Creator within, and you shall find your soul, its operation, in its understanding. Maybe there is time for humanity to take the next step, the next leap in education, to understand that the next step for man is to understand the creation of his soul, the mother, the seed, and through it to live and exist through all dimensions of the existence. I hope I have enlightened you to understand what is to come. And I hope the work of the man scientist will create the dimensions and systems that allows you to know your soul better, that through it, we will not have the physician of the physicality of the man, we'll have the scientist to understand the process of the elevation of the soul of the man. Not in the name of the religions, but in the name of the work of the soul of the man himself. As he enlightens to understand more, as he understands more, he reaches closer to the dimension of the totality of the knowledge of the Creator, which led to the totality of what we call creation. In so many ways, now, in the process of coming time, we have to keep busy. Not just because I understood our soul will desert and we go. In so many ways, we don't want to see what happened in the Southern America, that we find the cities without citizens and abandoned and is given back to the jungles. We don't want to see the mankind, by understanding the work of his soul, to abandon the earth, that then creating a new souls and seeds for the creation of the other universes to stop. Mankind has to understand that there is a beauty in the structure of the mother nursery of the universe, planet Earth, where Mitra took the first step to convert itself from the soul of the mankind to the soul of the physicality of man. And then we have seen what has led to the rest of it. In so many ways, every plant, every created, every animal, every being is a soul seed for the next step in the universe. When we cut a tree, we take a soul. When we kill an animal, we dismantle this dimension and direction in its evolution of the maturity. And this cannot be done. In so many ways, mankind has to reach to a total understanding of the purpose of its creation and why everything around him is being created. As we go to the dimension of the universe, we'll find that Earth is just another cell in the structure of a bigger jungle, a bigger structure of life of the universe. We are just one cell in the totality of the structure of the creation. In so many ways, try to understand the operation of your soul. Try to understand how you can get to it, that you can get to the totality of knowledge of the creation, and instantaneously you become a member of the universal community. Unless you choose what you fancy as UFOs and you see come and go, because those souls have managed to reach the elevation of the soul and teaching that we have given to the man. In some way, we have brought this knowledge to man to thank man for creating such beautiful souls that have become, in maturity and understanding of the balance of their work, the souls and the seeds of other galaxies and universes in the universe. In a way, we have come to create a perfect being that it creates perfect cycles of life by teaching man that the perfection comes from understanding of his soul and not feeding his physicality to become the greed of killing and the rest. Thank you very much for today, and I hope you understand the total essence of the creation. We thank those people who are in the background working to bring the situation for the teaching of the Keshe Foundation to become part of the international teaching, to understanding of the work of the science and technology, and through it, the knowledge of mankind. We salute His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran for opening the door of new science to the world through the new education which will start in Europe. And at the same time, it's not just Iran, but it's totality of us that the banner of mankind will elevate to that point. In so many ways, the beginning of the knowledge of the universe will start in Tehran in the coming weeks. And we welcome as many as you that would like to join us in the education, in the institutes and the universities of Tehran to become the knowledge seekers of the universe. In the coming time, the Iranian officials will announce the operation and opening of these structures that will teach the whole of humanity with new knowledge. But the option is yours. Take to the flight of fancies and run your UFOs and try to run your engines with no fuel, or learn to travel the dimension of the soul of the man and become part of the universal community. As when you become part of the universal community in another point and dimension and position in the universe, when you take the dimension of physicality, now you have to live with their education, with their understanding and their style of life. In a way, you change the village of Earth to another village in another city, in another part of the planet and in the universe. In so many ways, we open the knowledge of universe to humanity in the coming days, and we do not expect much. As man has always been a slow learner, but when he learned, he became a perfect child. Thank you very much for today, and I hope we go back again to our normal 9 o'clock Central European teaching next week, and with it, as we travel to Tehran, we'll change our time to Tehran Central Time of teaching, but European standard that we can understand the totality. I would like to thank the Iranian officials and the Keshe Foundation in Iran, who's working relentlessly to bring everything in operation, especially.
I've heard his voice, so we're on the same page on that. I totally understand. I got it. So yes, I deal in the, I guess the metaphysical is the best way to
put it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then one final thing, I understand that in September of 2019, you shifted from a nonprofit into a corporation, correct?
No. Keshe Foundation stands as a non-profitable organization. In around about 2018, or around that time, we invested in purchasing a Mark Corporation, which is in the stock market, because Keshe Foundation itself cannot get involved in any kind of commercial activities. So we run the operation of the Keshe Foundation in different shape or forms through my name and through the corporation, which is transferred back to the what you call Keshe Foundation, the factories and corporations, like as you see Mark. And Mark was bought on behalf of the Keshe Foundation to a structure of the work in North and South America only. Mark is not an international corporation of the Keshe Foundation. The European operation of the Keshe Foundation will be stock marketed in Frankfurt. The Chinese operation of the Keshe Foundation will go through Shanghai Stock Exchange market. The Middle East and Asia operation will go through Tehran Stock Exchange, where all these will be owned by the Keshe Foundation, and all its incomes will be spent directly on the programs and the processes and the factories and the spread of the knowledge and technology and the rest of it. Instead of making one international corporation from one nation, as we have the operation of the Keshe Foundation connected by Universal Council and the Earth Council members to each continent and language, each continent will benefit from the operation of Keshe Foundation in that continent. Mark is the beginning of the work. The Keshe Foundation, what we call team in the background, are in the line of the setting up and purchasing other corporations and stock exchanges around the world. And through that, Keshe Foundation will operate to benefit the humanity in totality. We are not a corporation that, like, let's say, Microsoft that operates headquarters only in the US. The corporation of the Keshe Foundation, the stock exchange market entry, which started in Mark initially, and we saw immediately some problems, and we had to stop and incorporate and reorganize, will come in a coming time that what we call like Mark is the valuation of the investment of the Keshe Foundation in Brazil, Mexico, United States, Canada, Argentina, and the rest. We will not mix the two. Then the other name of the Keshe Foundation you will see in Frankfurt, in Beijing, in Tehran. And in the coming time, we will choose a nation in Africa to represent the Stock Exchange of Africa, which is solid and not volatile in that process. These are all in the pipeline. The different groups of the Keshe Foundation are already working into entry of the Keshe Foundation through the investments which are coming through. And we will be owned and operated by the Keshe Foundation itself for the whole of the humanity.
Okay, and then, so you have been removed from the American stock market? You're
We
no
are
longer,
not removed. No, we are still there. Market is still there.
Yeah.
We don't speak about it. There's a reason for it. President Trump took a direct step in blocking the Keshe Foundation in certain ways. And we are, with the new administration, now the work, we are changing it. And Barclay is a company which has been in the establishment since 1981. Millions of shares are in the stock market in the hand of people. Yes, we have addressed a lot of problems which Trump, through the other things, brought for not only Keshe Foundation, but a lot of things. Trump had an idea that a corporation in the US cannot be owned by an Iranian nuclear physicist, where he was opposing all the nuclear problems. And in the communication, which is a part of the OTC objects to Keshe Foundation to be in the structure of the management, which is criminally illegal. But now we have addressed it, and we'll see what comes up, because anything we disclose can affect the share values of the market.
Yes.
But in a way, the valuation of the market will be our investment, which now will be launched in the US through, like Mexico now is going into operation, has been revamped, restarted. We had a setback. We had to wait for the President Trump to be removed from the office, the way we saw it. The way he was forced out, he forced a lot of things illegal in his operation during his presidency. And Mark Ray now, through the new administration, through new understanding, is getting restructured and owned in a way through knowledge and technology of the Keshe Foundation, is still by majority shareholding. And in the coming time, you will see Keshe Foundation in every stock exchange of each continent which we see appropriate. We'll manifest ourselves very soon in Shanghai. We will be in the coming time in the what they call Frankfurt Stock Exchange. We looked at it with the London Stock Exchange. I was in London very recently. I spoke with some of our people, and we decided we move the stock exchange into Frankfurt. And in that process, we will see Tehran as one of the major shareholding of the Keshe Foundation structure worldwide. Each continent has to be able to support its structure, and then this allows the Universal Council members and the Earth Council members to be able to manage financially all the countries in that continent. The simplicity of our forefathers dividing this earth into continents has made it for us easier to be able to manage with the operation. But all the health centers, factories, any operation in Europe will go under the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Any operation in China, like the new factory we have bought, the new structure will be transferred to the Keshe Foundation in Shanghai. And we allow each one to operate and grow according to the structure of the country.
So thank you. So meanwhile, who is capitalizing all this? Like
what do you mean capitalizing?
Funding. Where's the money coming from?
Mehran Tawakkuli Keshe.
Pardon?
Mehran Tawakkuli Keshe.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that leads to
what comes through different funding of the Keshe Foundation with the wishes of, and what we have at private assets, everything funds has funded these operations for past more or less 15 years. We have a lot of collaborators. We have a lot of people who work with us in different shape or form. with the fundings and other ways, and we sell off the goods and everything else, which funds most of our activities. We're going, you got to understand Keshe Foundation is not something that it wasn't then. Keshe Foundation is a baby which was nourished over past 40 years and now officially in past 17 years, 16 years. And now it has started taking shape internationally in a different way. We have and we are collaborating with the governments now. We've gone from the smaller structure now into the governmental structure. Keshe Foundation, like in Iran and in China and other places, now works with the government's research and research funding. This is the step we started now, which means the governments fund us for the research we do for delivery of technology to the nations. This is a big step for the foundation, moving from small operations and knowledge seekers to work now that we have built the factories up, we started building everything up, that we do not sell products of the Keshe Foundation alone anymore. We solve the problems of a nation, we show a solution, and governments now finance us for the research and development of new technologies. We have taken a new step in the recent past where up to now we showed what nanomaterial does or what gases do. Now government pay us to develop or to research for problems which exist. Now we've gone into different directions, and even today, some of our heads of knowledge seekers are in these positions, are negotiating across this planet with different government organizations, agriculture, space, and the rest. I have moved the Keshe Foundation in a totally different dimension. Now, especially like the factory in China, most of the income of the factory will not come from sale of products. It'll come with finance for the new research and development of new technologies by government and institutes. And this is not anymore a few pennies, is millions of dollars are paid to the Keshe Foundation, and we're working on these contracts. It takes us 6 months, a year, whatever. We have received the first initial steps to set up to solve the problems, and with it, we are financed for research. And the spin-off of these research will come through the Keshe Foundation factories to public or to use in nations. We have moved in a next step up to work to find solutions for the problems of corporations and governments, and we get paid to find a solution. And these things are will be very profitable for development of the new technologies. We still stay independent of the government, but like they pay every other research center to find a solution, now we get paid to find solutions through the new technology to change dimensions. And we already have operated and we are operating on this level in a number of countries that changes our position. And it has been extremely profitable venture for what we call the organizations who've gone this way. Now, as we don't make profit, we put it back in. The whole structure, Keshe Foundation, has changed, and for this reason, we are taking Keshe Foundation to the stock market to allow more massive finance researchers to come in, by sales of the share and know-how technology of the Keshe Foundation, which is in the back. Products will be a small fraction of the total operation of Keshe Foundation, most probably within the next few months. Most of our extensive research will come through solving problems for institutions and governments, which we are already working on it. We've got a few projects running like this, and we will see.
I love the solutions. Always been my premise. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions.
You have to tell us what the problem is that we can find a solution. But now we have gone a step higher in that process. becoming an organization which works with governments, and government financing is huge when it comes to new projects, finding new solutions. We show a small improvement or success, and the government backs it up for a bigger scale. You got to realize I come from the breed of working with governments. I made my wealth not from the small operations, by working with governments in big operations. And now we are bringing that into the operation of the Keshe Foundation in different countries, in different ways. And even today, in 4 or 5 nations, our Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers on the top are dealing with local governments or with national governments in finding solutions or bringing a new dimension, be it in agriculture, be it in medicine, be it in the space technology. There is one reality, is that once we move into Tehran, the Iranian Keshe Foundation team will take over the whole management structure of the running of the Keshe Foundation through computerized systems and international management. And we bring knowledge seekers to do so. We move from being an organization as we are to an organization to work directly between and amongst nations. And you will see this in the coming weeks upon my return to Iran. Keshe Foundation will become a space technology development, but through Keshe Foundation USA, through Keshe Foundation China, through Keshe Foundation Iran, we'll bring our governments to work together through Keshe Foundation. This is how we're breaking the barriers. The flags and the nations will go away, because through the knowledge seekers, we don't have any flags. We're all one nation. And world leaders are starting seeing this. You will see this in the next few weeks as the Keshe Foundation will merge as one of the leading scientific organizations in the world through research and development. We will still make the cups, we still make the fans, we still make the enhancement units, but our plan is much bigger in spreading knowledge to bring a much more rapid development. We have changed course into the next level up, but we still keep our feet to the ground that everything is done the same.
Well, of course, wishing the best success.
Our success is all of us, not just us. It's the knowledge seekers who are doing the work in the back. We just set up the strategy.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Achilles has a question in the Q&A. Mr. Keshe has mentioned in the 148th Knowledge Seekers Workshop public teaching that if one wants to make a plasma generator, then a booster reduction and a booster is required. My question is that if the booster means increasing the potential difference and reduction means stronger magnetic fields than gravitational fields?
It depends on which, you understood fully correctly, but it depends on which end of the energy strength you sit. If your gravitational is stronger, or is it you're looking for reduction on the magnetic pole, which is weaker? You got to understand that every point a magnetic field has 2 characteristics, one giving, one taking, and whichever of the 2 is stronger manifests itself that way. And it's always in the point of reference to where it's connected. In space technology, we see this as a positioning of the stronger stars in the center of the galaxies and the weaker stars at the boundaries of the galaxy. The stronger star, in trying to gain more position and a stronger position, or getting pulled by the center of gravity of the galaxy, will create a link with a number of solar system at the boundary, that in that process of interaction, they clear most of the energy, which is as a cosmic rays in the higher order interaction fields that allows them to suck in fields, loose fields, which are in the cosmos. In a way, that the stronger fields in the weaker magnetical gives the weaker gravitational with a stronger field of gravity. If you understand exactly what I'm talking about, you consider 2 points of references. And in that process, going from center of galaxy to the boundary, it's not just the same field which goes. The same field has both directions, so is as a plasma field, but it absorbs the fields within its process of crossing, as much as is going to and coming back from, on both directions of the magnetical and gravitational. In a way, if I explain to you, which we see it on Earth, the North Pole has a slightly higher temperature than the South Pole. But in fact, it should be approximately the same. But the flow field through Tesla effect, as we call it, and the heartbeat allows the more uniform fields of the strength of the field that they leave to be absorbed by the fields as they go through the planet. And that interaction with a higher level, the inertia of the planet on the North Pole, even you have ice on it, will allow higher temperature by slightly about 3 degrees to 5 degrees to be observed. And this a change of heat on the top, slightly higher than the warm on the bottom, is part of the resolution, evolution of the turning of the planet in part of its strength with the heartbeat. The temperature difference is actually magnetic field positioning with like a Tesla coil on 2 poles, where the field strength of one in conjunction with the central belt of the what we call equator, where there is a balanced fields dimension, creates the rotation of the planet. And in that process, the interaction of the fields in the center, creation of the plasma field forces in the center, with the outer inertia and magnetical field dictates the speed of the rotation of any planet on the feedback loop of the field forces. This understanding we use extensively in the flight system. We don't create fields to go through this reactor and just disappear. We absorb most of it back into that allows us continuously to absorb fields from the universe into the central core of the flight system. That's the only way you can travel without fuel across the universe for millions of years. You have to create a combination of the effects that allows the magnetical field to spiral and become partially gravitational of itself in respect to the position of the travel and the direction of travel. Where in one direction for me it looks magnetical, in the other direction for you is gravitational, even though we are looking both at the same fields. Depending on the position of the direction of the field forces motion from A to B or B to A. And if you understand this, you can bend any magnetic field if you introduce a third dimension to it, which allows you to become trajectory. And this is what, in that trajectory, the third field forces we know as inertia, which in the slowing down the fields leads to creation of a matter state of energy. But in a bigger scale, you can bend any field forces in the universe, be it the light or be it the, what we call cosmic rays of the higher order. This goes back into deeper space travel and how we structure our space reactors for flight in different dimensions and directions. We choose the trajectory by the introduction of inertia intersystem. We tested this in China in the Chinese test. And with that trajectory, we could dictate what materials could be made or what conditions we can. Any other question?
Good, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Let me see here. We've got Harold has an interesting question that talks about there are native people around the world who practice what he calls animism. They're known as animists. And that's basically that these people believe that all objects have a spirit. That's what animism is, apparently. So do you have any knowledge of this, was his question. Well, in a way, all of the plasma teaching is about that soul in the center of, well, everything, all of the systems, all of the sun, the stars, the humans, the atoms, and so on, all have a...
Yes, I understand that, but what is he asking about?
Well, I guess he's asking, he's stating that they're native people that practice this, and do you have any knowledge of this practice?
Does he want to practice it?
I'm not sure. Maybe Harold should. I can open up your microphone or allow you to speak, Harold. If you do wish to go ahead, you can perhaps verbalize that question better.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Harold and I live in Colorado in the USA. And there are people there's a tribe in a country called Niger, and they practice what they call animism. And what animism is, the people that practice that, they believe that every object, animate or inanimate object, has a spirit or an energy field around it. And that's kind of like what we're learning. And I was just wondering if Mr. Keshe had ever heard of any of these native people who practice that, and what's his opinion about it?
I came across this in 1990s. And then in a way, if you look at it in another part of the world, in taking further, we call it voodoo.
Yes.
Because I came to understand this in a very strange way when I was working in Gambia, in talking to people, and how then they can manipulate, or they believe in a power of the manipulation and the power of these objects. If you go to places like Gambia, they have trees which they believe have this kind of power.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And then when they build the road, the authorities, even the workers, will not touch. They build the road around the tree. In many places, in Africa, you see the tree was very small tree, and they build the road, and now the tree has grown. They bend the road around it. They don't dare to touch. They call it the holy trees, in the way of animism. And then they extend this into a lot of other things, objects, that they have a soul and they can manipulate this soul of the object. So, pardon?
That's exactly what I'm asking. That's what they believe.
Yes, they believe it. In a way, we call it voodoo in what we call in Caribbeans and that kind of thing. by making statues or creating thoughts and transferring thoughts and understanding the emotion of the object. And this is something we can believe in anything we like in that way.
Okay.
You see a lot of it in Nigeria, and they are very great believers of it. And I have seen it in Gambia, and I've seen it in Kinshasa in different way, but it's more or less the same path of belief.
That's correct. I got another little question for you. Do you, like, as being a knowledge seeker, is there a way that we can learn to sense these fields around objects, or is that just something that just comes natural? Some people have it, some people don't.
Some people have it and some people don't. We all have it, but it depends if we have appreciated the strength of the field we can detect. You understand?
Okay. I understand.
So it's not the exclusivity of some can. Somebody can see only the orange light. You can see the blue light, but you cannot see the orange light. We all have this capability and this power, but we have to find out which bandwidth we are in. Some of us are good in emotion, some of us are good in understanding the water passage, and some of us are good in understanding the animals' feels, how they feel.
I understand.
We all have this knowledge. We are not short of it. It's just that we have to find out which strength of the fields we operate on.
I have another question for you. When planets in their orbit around the sun, like the Earth has an orbit around the sun, and like Mars, the closest planets to us, like when Mars and Venus, when they are close to Earth, does the magnetic field of those planets affect the weather on our planet?
They affect the general flow of the fields, yes. But doesn't mean that they, because our weather is a shape of matter state of the field flow. As I explained earlier on in the teaching today. It's just that those who, through the inertia of the fields, have converted their energies to matter state, we feel it as a wind or whatever you would call it. But in a way, yes, they do, but not to extent that we think. But of course they do. You got to realize the field forces of the moon makes the waters of the earth to move 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, the tides.
Yeah, tides. So it's no different with any other planet which we move near to or across from us and the solar system. But they dictate certain things and they dictate certain changes within the field flow. Or most of the way to understand it is easier is that most of the changes will come through allowing a freedom for the fields to flow out or suppression of the fields through their closeness. And this suppression of the fields coming out of the planet or being pushed into the planet from different polarity condition, consequently in interaction with the inertia plasma of the field of the planet will have an effect on the planet, yes. But again, depends. But if we study the weather condition when all the planetary system are on the same line in the solar system, and it happened, let's say, every 100 years or so, that in that 100 years, what kind of weather do we see? We have never studied this. That lining of the stars, what weathers we expect. They're not always in the same place, but when they align, what pressures they put on the magnetic field of the Earth, what they call it, coming out of the planet, and how much would get dispersed. And these fields, somewhere as a plasmatic field with the inertia of the planet, will create new conditions. And we are not aware of it. But animal world which doesn't speak, and they rely on their field, the strength of what I call their soul, they do. Like we were talking earlier on in past few days, that the migratory birds have delayed their flights by 2 weeks this year, coming further south, because migration, because of the weather changes this year, has been extremely cold in Northern Europe compared to the other years. They've never known it so bad. It's the first time in the records. And like in Austria now, we had this. So these fields is felt by the birds because they work mainly through their soul side. So they migrate later because they know there's such interaction. They feel they are more tuned to the field of their souls than we do. And they say, we have this, they have that.
I have another question concerning what you just answered. Do birds have like a built-in maggrav that allows them to fly, or they don't have that?
They have a field location. I taught this once, and one day we come back to it. You got to understand, how do they fly across half of this planet and land on the same tree, the same, what do you call, nest, year after year? How does this can happen? Unless you have established a seed. When they build the nest with their saliva, with their whatever, they leave that little beaker that is connected to their soul, to the understanding of the position of theirs, and they come back to it. We use this technology now in the new air enhancement unit. In the new air enhancement unit, you get a separate piece with you that you place it somewhere in the room, which you create that flow. And the fields in going from one to another migrate. If you can understand this, so we create a condition of circulation. The fields continuously flow between the two. And they don't go anywhere else, because in the process of hitting each other, they spread around the room. We use this technology extensively in the Keshe class technology. Literally, we know how the birds work, but now we create the fields of it, but in a bigger version.
I have a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
We'll let you 2 more and then we go.
Okay. Rick answered one of my questions. I asked him, why doesn't a magnet stick to the earth or repel the earth? He said that because the earth's magnetic field is weaker than a magnet. And if that's the case, just based on some of the reading I've been doing, I thought when a stronger magnetic field interacts with a weaker magnetic field, there should be a reaction there. And
no. Let me explain 2 things which maybe add some knowledge. The gravitational magnetic field of the Earth is plasmatic. Okay. A magnet is a matter state.
Okay.
2 different things.
Okay, just like the beat of the heartbeat of a planet is plasmatic, and the vibrations and frequencies, that's matter. Same
matter
thing.
State. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we call it a day?
Yes, certainly, Mr. Keshe. I think you've had a long day there, no doubt.
Had a very long day today, and very exciting day. We'll see you next week, back again normal to the 9 o'clock Central European time. When we arrive in Tehran, we try to do the teachings in a different way, in conjunction with the knowledge seekers, officials and scientists of Iran and the rest of the world, in a theater form that participants can take part in and spread the knowledge in a much faster way. We hopefully be achieve that in the first couple of months when we arrive in Tehran. But we will not be exclusively staying in Iran. We set up the fire of the knowledge, and we travel around the world. We expect to be in Romania on the 20th of July in the Romanian conference. And we are looking forward to have a conference in Arizona sometime in September. And after September, we stop our international travels till sometime March of next year. Then in that time, we strengthen the field about the whole structure of the Keshe Foundation worldwide in manufacturing and the rest in connection with the governments and the programs which we have set. So the Romanian conference and then hopefully the Arizona conference will be the last conference this year, where we meet with the knowledge seekers and the world scientists and that. Thank you very much for today, and we'll meet very, very soon, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you once again, Mr. Keshe, for yet another Knowledge Seekers workshop here.
It's time for change.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto, co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.